races are more of a celebration of what we're all doing.
We're recording both on Garrett. Welcome to the podcast. I really appreciate you taking the time and the energy to come in today and just sit down and have this conversation. So just want to say thank you for being here. Why don't we just kind of hop into it?
Sure.
Can we just take a moment right now to have you just introduce yourself and brag on yourself real quick? I know you're a very humble person, but I also know that you're a very gifted athlete, and I just want you to take a moment to just brag on yourself and do it without the humility. Just, let us know what you're about.
Okay. So from an athlete standpoint, I got into the sport of triathlon when I was in college and really had no clue what I was doing at first, but took it one step at a time. Came from a background of swimming and running, and then picked up the biking part, and now it's one of my strong suits. But I'm a collegiate runner-up at the national championship my senior year. And then moving on into adulthood, I've worked a lot and then trained a lot and trying to balance those things, gone in and out of some competition. So when I first went from college, I graduated, went to a triathlon in Des Moines, Iowa, where I qualified to become a professional triathlete. And I chased that for a little bit, but it was pretty tough to balance with school, of chiropractic school at the time that I went into after graduating from A&M. And I raced maybe once, twice a year as a pro, and then decided to let that go as I went into the chiropractic profession and career. And then when I was doing that for a little, I came back around to the sport after stepping away for just a little bit and not really competing too much. And now going back into the age group world, I'm a national champion in the sprint draft legal distance for triathlon. And I got second place at the World Championships in that same event in my age group, and third overall there. And that was in Hamburg, Germany this year. And I'm about to go to another national championship here in about 3 days. So that will be a lot of fun. And outside of that, I've started my own chiropractic and sports therapy practice.
Man, that's awesome. It sounds like you've had quite the eventful year. Sounds like. How many races have you done this year so far?
Yeah, this year has been a really big year for me. I would say this year I've probably done 6 races, 6 or 7.
Okay, 6 or 7. And it sounds like you were placing at just about all of them?
Yeah, I think I won almost all of them and got second at 1 or 2 of them, and then had one where I just didn't do too well and got still in the top 10, and that was a national level race.
Okay, so basically you're
pretty strong throughout the year. This has been a good year.
Okay. Yeah, basically you're a top dog.
Yeah.
Sounds like it. Okay. Man, that's awesome to hear. Just to hear some of the accomplishments that you've achieved this year, that's amazing. So congrats on that, first of all. That's awesome. So
yeah, thanks.
I'm curious to know, I know you already kind of touched on it, but if you want to just take us to the beginning of where you started out as a triathlete. I know you mentioned you started out with a running and swimming background and kind of picked up biking later along the lines, but how did that all come about? How did that start? And then what led you into becoming a triathlete? And when did you decide you wanted to take this serious and become a pro at it?
Okay. So yeah, I grew up with a swimming and running background. I got into those things. I think my first love was soccer, actually. And I played that for quite a while. And then my high school that I went to was really small. It was a 2A. Back when the classifications, there was only 1A through 5A in the state of Texas. And so we didn't have a soccer team. So I kind of had to pick a different sport to focus on. And so I just decided I'll do running. It's something that seems pretty good. And did that. And then eventually got into swimming as well. And went through with swimming, it was also, I was at a small school, so I was actually like the one-man high school swim team that got to represent our school at some of the bigger races with like the 4A, 5A athletes from their schools. And I had a swim coach that was like, hey, you should do a triathlon. And I didn't even know what a triathlon was. Out in the middle of nowhere in the country, like, do a triathlon? What? Why would I want to do one of those? Like, no one does that. I don't know anyone that does a triathlon. I have no interest in it. But I eventually gave it a go when I was a junior, and I had a friend that did the same race. And at the end of this triathlon, I did okay. I got, I think, like 12th overall or something in my first one, but struggled in the bike because that was the discipline that I had no clue what I was doing. And it was a borrowed bike. I think I almost fell when I unclipped to go to the run part of the triathlon during that first race. But at the end of it, I remember my friend coming and saying, hey, do you want to ride back home with us? And I thought he meant like with him and his brother. I'd just ride with them. That'd be fun in the car. He was talking about riding his bicycle 80 miles home after we just did a sprint triathlon. I thought he lost his mind. Wow. And I thought triathletes are crazy. I'm going to go back to running and swimming, and I'm not messing with this triathlon stuff. And so that's what I did through the rest of my high school years. But I got into college where I wanted to go and swim and run somewhere, and it just didn't pan out for me. But when I was in college, my undergrad, I went to an open house where all the clubs present themselves, and there was a person that was sporting triathlon there. So I was like, oh, go check it out, just swing by. And there was a girl there, and she said, I bet you can't beat me in this little bike race we're doing here in a couple of weeks. And so that got me all riled up again. I was like, a little competition. I like it. It's like, no way a girl's going to beat me in something with aerobic activity. And so I called my mom up later that day and said, hey, any way I can get a bicycle? I need to go and do a race against this girl in this triathlon club. And so she found me a woman's size 52 road bike, which if anyone's listening and they know what that is, it's a very small bike, and I'm 5'11", so it did not fit. But I rode that little thing for a whole year or so and used that doing triathlons. I lost that race to that girl, by the way, but that's what got me back into doing endurance activity, doing triathlon. And so I started there, and I was just doing a little swimming, doing a little biking and running, hanging out with my friends that were in this triathlon club at A&M. And I was really busy while I was at A&M, and so I didn't have a lot of time to give to it, but I was doing pretty good when I went to the local competitions and said, maybe I should take this a little more seriously. So I think that was around my junior year of college that I decided I was going to take it a little more serious. So I eventually got a coach, and my coach worked and built me up, and then I started getting really fast. So from one summer, from about May to August, I went up a whole nother level in my ability there in triathlon, and I started getting in like the top 5 at races, top 3 at races, started winning some races. And then I started thinking, okay, like, what's the future in this sport? What else can I do besides just race these local things? And then that's when I really said, okay, let's try to go professional in this sport. What's that take? How can I do that? Started looking at the regulations, the requirements you needed to do in order to get what they call a professional license. And that's kind of where I ended up just chasing this journey and just following the trail wherever it was taking me.
Okay. So it started with a girl. It started just challenging
a challenge from a girl.
Okay.
And someone saying, I can do this better than you. And I was like, you're a girl, you can't beat me. But girls are fast. Do not let them deceive you.
Okay. Man, that's cool. So it started with just a girl challenging you, and then you found out as you stepped into the sport, you found out you were pretty good at it, and you wanted to take it more serious.
Mm-hmm. I think just having that swimming and running background helped a lot, because most people struggle with the swim when they come into the sport. If they don't have a swimming background, that's what people always are a little more fearful of, because oftentimes these races are done in open water where you're around a lot of different people at the same time, splashing, kicking, their arms are flailing about. So that can be scary if you don't have a swimming background, you're not confident and comfortable in the water. But everybody's able to do these things. That's just something that's just like a challenging barrier. For me, I kind of didn't have that barrier. I was always tended to be in the front, got a lot of clear water. So even when I first started the sport, that was something that it was easy for me and not as scary. And it's kind of like I had 2 of the 3 pieces. So it wasn't too hard for me to really get in and start doing well in the sport, I think.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, so as you picked up the disciplines, how did what is it like to be able to go pro as an athlete and in the sport of the triathlon?
Yeah, so as a kid, we always heard some people grow up watching the Olympics or watching these professional sports that they enjoy, and some think, I want to do that one day. I would love to be a professional athlete of some sort. I think I grew up watching sports, didn't really ever have like one love in a sport. I didn't like follow one sport, and I wasn't passionate about the athletes in that sport or anything crazy. I think the biggest one was Michael Phelps, but that was more like, wow, this guy is a freak of nature and he's beating all these people, winning all these Olympic gold medals. And that was super impressive, but I still didn't even look at him and say, I want to be a professional swimmer one day. I didn't even have like an idol or anything like that or anyone I really looked up to. But I got to college, and then it became, because to me, it wasn't a reality that I could even achieve that for where I was in the sports. But eventually, once I feel like someone sees that it's achievable or maybe even possible that they could do that themselves, then you can more easily go and chase that goal. So once I was like, wow, I could maybe actually go professional in a sport, that's super exciting to me. And I've always been a challenge-driven individual and performance-driven individual. So I looked at that as a window of opportunity that, hey, you're pretty good at this. Maybe you could go professional in this. But then I was like, what does it even mean to be a professional in a sport? Kind of the same question you're asking now. And in triathlon, it's kind of complex compared to, you watch football. It's, okay, do well in high school, maybe get invited to some bowls and things like that are special, and they highlight your performances, and then you go to college, and then you go professional, and everyone knows what that's like. Or maybe you go play in some minor leagues, but a lot of people are more aware of that. With triathlon, there's no minor leagues or anything like that. It's you either decide you're going to be a long course triathlete or a short course triathlete. And if you are a long course triathlete, that means you're doing things that are predominantly Ironman events. So most people, when they hear triathlon, they know what an Ironman is. They're like, oh, you do triathlons? Wow, how long does that take you? And their brain instantly goes to Ironman. The really long event where you're doing a 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride, and a full marathon at the end of that, of running. But when you go professional, you can choose to go that direction where you do those events, or you do half of that distance, which is a half Ironman event. And then there's other races that are around those same distances that you can go and do, and you can win prize money. And then there's the short distance races, which are sprints and Olympic distances, much shorter. Usually those races last about anywhere from 45 minutes up to 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And when you are deciding which one you want to do, typically the younger athletes will go to the short course route, and the older athletes will start to go towards the longer route. And so for me, I went short course. I wanted to go maybe have a shot at making an Olympic team or something. So I started doing that. You become a part of Team USA, which age group athletes can be a part of Team USA. But there's also a division where you're a professional athlete. You're representing the U.S. in international competitions. And so that's kind of what it looks like. And you go and you race in this series of short course. There are the lower level events, I guess you could call it, more of the like semi-pro or like the more rookie league. They're called Continental Cups, which their names change over the years, so they might not be Continental Cups now. But basically there's like a third level, which is the lower level. Then there's the middle level, which is like the World Cups. And then there's the World Triathlon Series, which is the very top level, where you have 50 to 75 of the best athletes in the world that you usually see those guys at the Olympics representing their countries at those events. And then there's usually a series that goes on all year. The lower level has a lot of races. The middle level has a little more limited number of races, but more prize money there. And the top has 6 to 8 to 12 races a year, and they have a lot more prize money in there. But the long course, it's kind of like there's just all these races that you can go do that are Ironman races, or now we have PTO races, Professional Triathletes Organization. There's the Challenge Series, and all these, they just have, hey, here's our calendar of races. They're starting to put together a series for those things, but as a long distance racer, you're all focused on the world championships of each thing. And those are the big, like, hoorah things you want to try and win. You get a lot of sponsors from doing well at those events and things like that.
Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I appreciate the the breakdown and the education of that, because I don't think, like you said, I don't think a lot of people realize just how many different types of triathlons there are.
Yeah.
And so
it's getting more complex now.
Okay.
Like it seems like as years goes on, now we have something called Super League, which is super sprints. So now you have to explain to people, well, they do a triathlon, but it's not what you usually see. Instead of doing like swim, bike, run, they could do swim, bike, run, bike, swim, run. Like they change it up and mix it up a little bit, and there might be breaks in there. So that gets confusing until you actually get into it and follow it and keep track of it. But basically it's just swimming, biking, and running and multiple combinations.
Okay. But that's cool though, because I think it shows that the sport is willing to continue to adapt and change and evolve as it goes. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, to distinguish between like the different types that happen. So where does that put you? What types of triathlons are you mainly focusing on, or that you're going for? Where are you at?
Yeah, so for me now, I'm back racing age group level. So basically the only two distinctions in triathlon are you're either an age group athlete or you're a professional triathlete. And as age groupers, you can do races that allow you to have national championships and world championships. That's all within the age group. So professionals aren't racing in those races. And right now I'm kind of chasing goals in age group racing to try to get some titles, because I do want to go back and race professional, and I want to have some accolades that make me feel accomplished and make me feel like, okay, you're at a level that you can go and compete with the best in the world. So I kind of would love to take another year as an age group athlete. So my 2024 season will be mostly focused on middle distance racing. So kind of that half Ironman distances. And then now with the PTO, they're going to have 100K distance races, which the swimming, biking, running adds up to 100K of distance, kilometers. And I'm focused on that zone, but I'm still going to go and do some sprints and Olympics for some of those races for fun. I've already qualified for world championships in those events for next year. So my goal right now is to go race age group for one more year and go to some of the biggest events that I can do and try to win them.
Wow. Okay. Man, that's pretty cool. So right now you're kind of just working your way back into the professional level, it sounds like.
Yeah. So technically I could go back and race professional now if I wanted to. The races I've done this year, I've been able to qualify to get my professional license again if I wanted to accept it and then go race professionally. And what racing professionally really means distinction-wise is you can go and enter a race that has prize money of $5,000 or more. So as an age group athlete, I would not be able to race in that race if it has $5,000 or more. If it has less than that, I could race for it.
Okay, so that's basically, it's just like how much prize money you can get.
Right.
Okay, and you're just trying to rack up the accolades first before you enter into those pools.
Yeah, because for me, I would love to go up there into the professional world and try to make some money with the racing, but it's also really hard to make that money in the racing. That as a professional, it's pretty competitive now, and the fields are getting more and more dense with these fast athletes, so it makes it harder to get that money. So for me, I want to be able to connect with the age group athletes. I love the community of triathlon. I love trying to encourage people to push their limits. I think a lot of times a mental will limit the physical in our sport. And there's just so many things, and it's so exciting when you see someone make a personal record or they just crush a time that they've done before. So I'm always encouraged and encouraging to people to see them hit these things and break their barriers that they maybe didn't even think they could or was possible. So for me, I'm trying to connect and show all the age group athletes like, hey, I work a job too. I have like all these responsibilities. I run my own business essentially and do multiple different things. I'm up super early. Sometimes I'm up super late at night. I don't get a lot of sleep, and I can still achieve very high results with the right motivation and determination. And so I'm hoping that connects with a lot of other age group athletes, and it encourages them and inspires them to achieve great things. Maybe not go professional, but achieve great things for their own selves. And so I want to try to connect with as many people. So I'm trying to use this next year as like a platform almost to get my name and just have me be exposed to as many age group triathletes as I can. And then I hope that they connect with me, and I hope that I build this community and make more and more friends. And then as I race professionally, I have people that are kind of cheering me on. They love to see someone who's kind of gone through this whole process to get to a certain place and then try to compete with the best in the world, instead of being someone who just breaks out naturally in like 1 or 2 years and goes and races professionally and they're just really gifted and really talented, really good. I want to show that I went there, I really got my butt kicked pretty good, and I couldn't dedicate the time that it took. Like, it takes a lot of hard work to race professionally. I just couldn't do it at the time. So I came back, stepped away from it, and went back to age group racing, where I could compete at kind of the top of the age group. And I'm a good athlete in that regard, but there's still a whole nother level I need to reach to compete professionally. So hopefully they'll see that I've come down and I'm putting in a lot of hard work. I'm putting the pieces together, working with a team that's going to help me achieve the goals I want and get the athletic performance that I want. And then they can kind of come along for this journey as I go and race professional. And then it's almost like watching that Michael Phelps and being like, wow, he's incredible. I want people to do that for me and be inspired, and then reach out, ask me questions. I would love to just help anyway, and anyone with anything in any way that I can.
Yeah, man, that's really, I tip my hat to that, because for you to be able to want to build community within a sport that it's all individual based, but to be able to, build that camaraderie amongst the community and just, show what you're capable of, and to also showcase, hey, if you're capable of it, then others can accomplish the same. And it doesn't sound like a easy sport to get into by any means. So that's awesome to hear. So where does that, I know right now you're kind of preparing for a race coming up soon. So where does that put you at now? What are you working towards right now?
So right now, over the last 2.5 months, I would say, or so, I actually just looked at my training and broke it down. I said, okay, what have I done over the last 8 weeks? And I looked at my training, and this training now that I'm doing is a little different than the training I usually do, because I'm usually very focused on the short course racing. But with the race that I'm doing here in a couple of days, it's a middle distance race. So I've actually changed my training, and we're focused fully on this middle distance race. So I've been training longer days. I've been training longer intervals during my training sessions of working hard. And I'm really focused on trying to win this race coming up. That's basically a half Ironman distance race. It's just not Ironman branded. And it's also considered the long distance national championship. And if I get this win under my belt, it'll definitely kind of give me that confidence going into next year that I can go and take on these middle distance races after strategically planning and doing the training required to do well at these races. And if it doesn't go well, I'll take it as learning experience, and then we'll see if I really enjoyed it or did I just absolutely hate it and maybe this isn't for me almost. I've done a handful of these before, and I would say I didn't enjoy any of them, but I also didn't train for them well, so that could be why.
Okay. So when you say, is it different from other races that you've done in the past, or what's different about this one that you say you don't tend to like?
Yeah, what's different is just it's so long. So I'm used to doing races that are around that hour to 2 hour mark, and I can just push myself really hard during that time. This one, you have to kind of hold back, reserve yourself a bit, and think, okay, I'm going to have 3 to 4 or 5 hours of racing here. The goal is to go hard almost to your threshold, but be able to maintain that. And you also have to think about nutrition for this, because your body, once you get past like the hour, 2 hour mark, nutrition becomes and plays a really big role. You can blow up and completely slow down and lose your pace that you're wanting to do. So you don't want to risk that. And then you also have stomach issues you have to think of, that your body's trying to work and get your muscles to do what you're trying to achieve. You're trying to work hard and go fast. And then that means your digestion is going to slow. And if your digestion slows and you put something in your body that just doesn't sit well with it, it's going to tell you time to evacuate. So you could be in a porta-john on the side of the race course for who knows how long. Or some people, they just go on themselves during the race. So I definitely want to avoid those situations. So it brings different challenges, and I haven't liked it just because it's been so long and hard. Like, I get to a point, I have not done very good with my nutrition in the past. I also haven't done well with actually training to prepare to run or to ride my bike as strong and as fast as I need to for that distance to achieve the goals I want to achieve with it. And that's been the tough part for me, is just the mental side of it. I get about that 2-hour mark on the bike and I'm like, gosh, this has been very long and I'm getting really tired. And then I get to the run and I'm like, I'm toast. I don't want to run a half marathon now.
Yeah. Man, so that's interesting because I think a lot of people, they might think about it, but they don't realize, like, yeah, you do have to use the bathroom. So are you eating during the race, or like, how does that work? Or and also, like, you mentioned nutrition is a huge part of it.
Right.
How's everything been leading up to this race? Do you feel pretty good about where you're at?
Yeah. So over the last couple of weeks, there's usually the weekends is when you do your long, like, brick sessions where you do a bike ride and then you go straight into a run. And that's a perfect time to practice your race day nutrition. So basically everybody's going to be a little different. You're going to find what you like and what you don't like, what works well with you and what doesn't work well with you, and what actually sustains you energy-wise, and then maybe what doesn't work for you. So everyone's a little different with that. But what works for me is I'm taking mostly calories. I focus on calories and carbs. So I have to have enough of those things to support the effort of racing that I'm trying to achieve. And with that, I'm putting about 70 to 85 grams of carbs into my body every hour during my race. And so I practice that on the weekends, and I practice with different versions of nutrition, or different brands of nutrition and things. And I try, like, okay, how does my body do with all liquid? Because that sounds good to me on the bike. If I don't have to worry with tearing a package or getting something out that's a solid or a gel or a goo or anything like that, I would like for it to all be in a bottle. So I started practicing with different things and seeing what worked for me and what didn't. And I got lucky that most of my sessions went pretty well. I did have one session where I was doing like a 3-hour bike ride and then a 45-minute run off afterwards. And I didn't quite make it the 45 minutes because my stomach felt like it was just about to explode. And so you get in those situations and you take notes, you put it in your whatever training log you're using, and then you know not to do whatever you did again. But you also have to look at, what did I have the night before for a meal? What did I have for lunch, breakfast? Kind of look at your general nutrition, because that can also play a role in setting up your training or your race. But for me, I've gone to liquid calories, so I get about 70 to 85 grams of carbs in liquid form, and then calories, it's about 600 or so, maybe 800 in calories for me, and that's for the whole 2 hours, the total of calories. So per hour, getting about 350 calories per hour, and then getting about that amount of grams that I just mentioned. And then I've got some extra little gels that I keep just in case. And those have a little bit of extra electrolytes, because the race I'm about to do is starting to change. The weather looked really nice, and now it's looking a little bit rough. So with it being a hotter race, I'm going to bring a little bit of extra electrolytes into the mix, which I haven't really had time to practice that. So that's kind of the gamble, is that I didn't practice with extra electrolytes. So I don't exactly know how it's going to affect my body, but I'm just hoping it'll be okay, because the heat will be drawing more water out of me, but it's going to be humid in Florida. So we'll see how it goes. I'll have to kind of make game day decisions, and that's where you use your race experience that you have in the past. So I know something about my body from the other races besides this last 8 weeks of training that I've had. And so I kind of bring that back in and say, okay, I know that this has worked okay for me in the past. It's got some good electrolytes in it. I'm going to include that with my race nutrition plan.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. It's so nuanced with every little detail. So
the sports definitely dives in details.
Yeah. So I was gonna say you have to have it down to a science, but some of it you kind of go in not knowing what to expect and just kind of gambling on certain things. So,
right.
Man, that's crazy. But at the same time, it's cool that, like you said, there's so much mental aspects that play in part of the whole race and just everything that goes into it. Can you talk to a little bit about some of like the biggest obstacles and hurdles that you've gone through with being a triathlete? Whether that be just actually in the race, some of those mental hurdles that you have to overcome, but also just in general, being a triathlete and just the life that comes with it and the pursuit of becoming a professional in this sport.
Yeah, that's kind of a lot to unpack in one question, but I'll touch on some of those things that just come to my head immediately. Some of the hardest things about being a triathlete is you're balancing three sports basically, and you're trying to train for three sports. So when they look at triathletes, we actually do the most physical training than we do more physical training than any other sport does as a professional athlete. And then if you take that down to the age group level, it's still you're planning your training during your day, during your week, and you have to figure out where's a pool that I can get to, and then when's it open? And then when it's open, what are the hours that I can even use it? Because a lot of times the pools have like high school swim teams there, or someone's using it. Water aerobics is going on at your local gym, and they have it from 6 to 8, so you can't use it. And it's just crazy. Finding a good place that you can swim sometimes is a barrier and a challenge, because I've moved around a lot from college to working a first job, working a second job, start my own thing. And so I've bounced around to a lot of different pools and had to go through that series of, okay, what are the hours? When can I actually swim here? And is there any groups that I can swim with? Because sometimes swimming on your own, you can get burnt out pretty easy, or it's really easy. You're done with work and you know you need to do a swim workout for the day, but you're exhausted already. So easy to just say, no, I'm not going to swim today. Or you might go to the pool and you're not feeling it. You might do a 200 swim and you get out when you had 3,000 planned as far as yards go. Those are probably the most challenging, because running, you can just throw running shoes on, go out your door most of the time. Biking, most people have a bike that they can set up indoors and they ride their bike indoors, which can be at their house or at their work. I have the luxury to do both with where my office is located. So sometimes I've got my bike at my work, at my office. Sometimes I have it at my house. And so it makes it a little more convenient and easy to get these training sessions knocked out, because the hardest part is trying to plan it in your day-to-day schedule, because we all have to work. Some people have to take care of kids. Some people have to take care of animals. You know, there's a lot that goes into it. And then sometimes your day just doesn't go as planned and you get behind schedule. And then your time that you had was an hour to train and now you have 20 minutes. What are you going to do? Are you just going to write your training session off? Or are you going to get in a hard 20 minutes, an easy 20 minutes? So sometimes it's making those game day decisions that can be challenging for our sport too.
Man, yeah, I feel like the balance of everything, not just within the balance of the three sports, but the balance of life. It sounds like a tough one.
Kind of ties into the balance of life. And then as a triathlete, you almost feel like you're living out of your car half the time, because you have so much apparel, so much gear that goes into these sports. So half the time I've got a swimsuit and a swim bag that stays in my car. I've got a pair of running shoes that you can usually find in a floorboard of my car. I've got a towel hanging on the passenger side, It's just crazy. You become almost like a nomad in your vehicle, going, even if it's just to and from work and the pool.
What is that like, just mentally? What was like the mental toll that you go through, having to balance everything? Take us through some of your headspace as you have to navigate through the literal waters sometimes of what you're doing, and just balancing sports and life and all of that comes with it.
Yeah, it's almost like they call triathlon a lifestyle sport, because it gets roped into your life so much. And it follows the mental load that you have just in your day-to-day life with your family and with your friends and with your career. So sometimes you have those mental highs, everything's going good in your life, and you're really motivated towards your next event that you have, and you're feeling good. Maybe you just started a new training cycle, you're nice and fresh, and those times are great. They're the easy times. Then there's the hard times where you're maybe 6 weeks into your training that you've started going towards a race. Your body is physically tired, and then you're mentally tired because your body's tired, and then you've had some long days at work. Maybe something's going on with your family, or you've got like someone who's not doing well, they're really sick. COVID's been a big thing lately. So maybe someone's got COVID and that's putting a stress on your life. But for me, I think some of the hardest stuff is just when I start to get tired, and then I have multiple days where I sleep 4 or 5 hours a night, and then I have to wake up and go coach a morning swim practice because I do some swim coaching. And I'm like, why are these people even wanting to wake up so early and come to a morning practice? I just want to be back in bed. I don't even want to be here standing on the deck trying to coach people. Not that I even have to swim, but I don't even want to be here, period. But there are mental battles, and a lot of times you just have to circle back to, why am I doing this? Why am I in this pool right now? And then try to let that motivate you. And there has to be some bigger desire of why you're doing the sport, or you'll just easily just quit. Like drive and determination can be big factors in the sport, and a lot of people can get burnt out if you're doing too much. So there's a lot of times, even if you have a training plan, even if you have a coach that's telling you what to do, you know yourself better than anybody else. So there are days that you might just have to take them off and say, I need a rest. And don't be afraid to take 2 or 3 days in a row off too. You're not going to lose any fitness over that time. I've even had to do that before, where I'm really close to a race and maybe I have a little injury that I need to nurse. Maybe my calf is just a little too tight and I'm just worried that something bad's going to happen with it. So just take 3 days off of running. And sometimes that helps, because what people also don't realize is that everything in your body operates off of a mental impulse. It takes brain power, it takes mental energy to do what you're doing. And if you're doing hard sessions, that takes even more central nervous system energy. It takes more mental capacity, and it drains you from like a body battery and a mental battery perspective as well. So sometimes you have to think, okay, I've been doing a couple hard sessions and I've been really consistent with it. Maybe you take a couple days or you just space that out. Don't do a hard session. Just see if that brings some life back to you. And then when you're really motivated to go and run hard again, or you're really motivated to go swim hard again, or even get back in the pool at all, then go and do those things again and incorporate it, get consistent with it again. But sometimes we need those little ups and downs and breaks in there.
Yeah, what's cool about that is I feel like not only does that work for the sport of being a triathlete, but also it seems like a good metaphor for life of, you're going to have those ups and downs. And sometimes the best training is rest and getting that rest in, understanding yourself as best as you can, both mentally and physically, because sometimes it's not even the physical that needs the rest, it's the mental. And to be able to take a break from all of that, it just kind of goes a long way. And I think being a triathlete, from what it sounds like from you, you get some of the best training of your mental in that space. So that's pretty cool to hear. And then you kind of mentioned it as well. You touched on it real quick. You said some of those days you're feeling real low and you don't want to be doing any of it. And there has to be something a little bit more that helps drive you and gets you through those lows and stuff. So I'm curious to know, what is some of the things that helps get you past those lows? You said there has to be a reason why you're doing the sport. So for you, what does that look like?
Yeah, so for me lately, and these things change, I would say everyone might find that during different times in their life, they think a little differently and they focus on something a little different. And recently for me, because don't get me wrong, during those mental hard times, you can't always quit and throw in the towel, or you might never get better if you give in. Because I think when it comes down to our pure just humanity, and just if you think about what our body always wants, I would say for majority of people, our bodies want to just go home, sit down, do something mindless, watch a TV show, a movie, or do something on our phone, or just sit there and do nothing, maybe read a newspaper. Like, we want to sit down, we want to rest, we want to be lazy at nature, we want to eat food. That's what our body wants most of the time. I think that's true for a lot of people, but so you can't always just be like, oh, I'm mentally tired, I'm going to take a break. Sometimes you do have to push through those mentally tough and hard times. And so for me right now, what I've been recently thinking about is something that one of my patients, who used to be a professional fighter, actually, he used to be a professional jiu-jitsu fighter, and he told me whenever I was telling him, man, I'm getting pretty low, I'm getting pretty beat down, and I have this workout I'm going to have to do tonight. My schedule's looking long. I'm not even going to get to start this hour and 20-minute run until like 7:30 at night. And I know how this goes. I know if I don't knock it out in the morning, it was something like this that has a lot of hard effort in it, I'm very likely to not do it when I get to the end of my day, especially when it's that late at night. And he's like, Garrett, what makes the difference between you and the other guy that has the same amount of talent and the same amount of drive as you in the time being? Or if this competitor is basically the same as you, what's going to make the difference? How are you going to be the one that beats them? You have to find the way to push yourself through these sessions. You have to do the work. They might cut a session short. You can't be the one to do that. And don't let it happen that often. Maybe you do it every now and then, but I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's basically that's the general idea. Is he told me, like, do something that they're not willing to do and push yourself past where you're even trying to throw in the towel. But you know inside, deep down, you could keep going, but that your body just wants to quit and you want to get out and you want to not do it. So I remember that day distinctly. He told me that. And that night, I wanted to quit after I just did the warm-up. It was cold outside. It was like one of the first cold days here in Texas this year. And I don't do well in the cold. But I remember doing that warm-up. I was just about to start some of my harder stuff, and they were just shorter, hard stuff at the beginning of this workout. And I really didn't want to do it. I was just like, I'm just going to jog back home. I'm going to call it a night. I'm going to get some food. I hadn't had dinner yet. And I was like, no, just get through the first 2 of these repeats. I had 6 400s I needed to do. It's like, get through 2 of them. Got through 2 of them. I wanted to quit again. I was like, do 2 more. I was like, we got to keep doing things that we don't want to do right now. And I pushed through the whole thing. And then I started feeling a little bit better. I was like, okay. And I started my longer. I had 4 reps of 5 minutes of higher pace efforts. And I remember I kind of even ran back closer to my house. So I was like, I can easily just step out and quit if I want. But I forced myself then, because I said, this race I have coming up. So I took it in and I role played it a little bit. I said, I'm about to do a running course where at the end, I'm more tired. I had to do 3 loops of this course. And that's kind of mentally tough because you're doing the same thing. You don't have so much going on around you that's mentally stimulating. You just have the same old thing. And you're doing another lap. You know how hard it is after the first lap. And so I just chose to do 5-minute loops right in front of my house and pass by my house every single time, over and over again. And I just told myself, I can't quit, can't go inside. And part of me wanted to, and part of me would fight it. And so I just let that internal battle go back and forth. And then when I got done with that workout, that last rep, I felt like an Iron Man. I just wanted to rip my shirt off, and just yell. And by the time, people were starting to go to sleep in the neighborhood, I didn't want to wake everyone up, but I wanted to be like, I did it. I just finished this workout. I'm going to crush this race. And it just gives you even more drive. So the next day might turn out to be even better just because you chose to push through that workout.
Yeah, sometimes it's all about just the mental training. And I feel like that's what helps translate into the actual races, is remembering the tough days where you didn't want to push through and you're like, hey, I want to just throw in the towel right now. But then, so mid-race, you can be thinking of that and be like,
draw on that for sure.
Man,
I've done so much work. Why am I wanting to quit in this race? Why am I wanting to slow down?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Because then it kind of all ties together and translates better to the real life situations, and understanding that you not only prepared your body physically, but you also prepared your mind mentally to go through the trenches for this race. So, man, that's pretty cool to hear.
Yeah.
And for you, do you feel like, as far as that goes, I know you said that's a big reason of your why, that drive. Do you feel like any of the external factors kind of help drive you as well, when it comes to just being the best at who you are, not only within racing, but I know you said you're running your own chiropractic business, and then also when it comes to just your social life with your family and everything, do those external factors kind of play into your why as well?
Sometimes. It's definitely has a little impact in there, I think, because I'm not always driven from just an internal performance perspective, but also kind of like what other people think about you, even though, we always try to say, don't worry too much about what other people think about you. But there's a lot of it that's like, I want to make some of these people proud. I want to make some of these people think or say like, wow, I can't believe he actually like did that. It's kind of fun. And I think a lot of people love when they do something and they get a pat on the back, or they do something and they impress someone where they get that wow from somebody. And so that kind of makes you feel good about what you're doing too. And so that kind of helps to drive you.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And for you in this case, on those long nights where you're training and just pushing past your limits, what makes you just so passionate about the sport? Like where are you drawing from? Where are you drawing from? And just where does that passion come from?
Yeah, and honestly, I ask myself this a lot, and I really try to figure it out, and I really don't know, other than trying to see how quickly can I do something. Like, I enjoy the feeling of being physically fit and pushing my body and riding a fine line of the limit. But what's funny is I like that feeling, but I don't like the uncomfortable pain. So I like to feel really comfortable and be going really fast, but I don't like to feel really uncomfortable and to be going very fast. And some people do. Like, I know some triathletes that are like, I love a lot of foreign athletes. They'll be like Germans. They're like, I love to push my body into where it hurts and then see how long I can hurt. And I'm like, I do not like to do that. I actually don't like to go into this pain zone and to just sit in it for as long as possible. I like to be right under it. Like, I want to be knocking at the door, but it hurts, but I'm going fast and I can hold this. And part of me just, it like loves that feeling. I like that line right before it hurts and you're uncomfortable and you just sit there in that uncomfortableness. Not sit there, but you maintain the effort. But it's hard to say what my why deep down like really comes from. Like, what keeps making me want to do these and push these things. Part of me almost, I want to say it's almost like an innate sense of like, you want to go and I want to go and show up to a race and just be able to win a race and see how far I can win by, but also do that and do it in a way where maybe I do hit that uncomfortable zone, but I still don't like to do it and be in that painful zone. So I'm just trying to get my fitness level up there high enough where I can still do it and I can still cheer on people during the race. Like, I love doing that. I love the saying of give energy to get energy. So I almost think like races are more of a celebration of what we're all doing. And so I love to be on the bike pushing 280, 90 watts on a long race. And we're going back and forth on a bike course where you turn around, you're going the opposite direction of people, and then just yell at every single person. Just say something so they can be like, oh my gosh, that guy's going way faster. Like, he's leading the race and he's over here yelling at me. How in the heck? They'll be like, and they're like, how's he even talking? And he just said something to like every single person down the line. Because I think that's cool and they remember that. But then also it makes them almost kind of want to do it to other people because of the way that they just felt. So it's almost like you give energy and then I get energy and I feel better as I'm trying to do that while I'm doing what I'm doing. So I enjoy being at the races and being able to like just crush it and like crush the competition. I want to beat everyone. Maybe that, I don't know where that falls on people's ears, but my goal is just to try to win by as big of a margin as I can on most races I do. And then cheer everyone else on that's out there during that day if I can.
Yeah, so it for you, it sounds like you're an ultra competitive person, and that's what kind of takes you through your days. And
I am very competitive.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what it is. It's just I don't want to lose. I want to win.
Yeah. I know there's a saying that goes like, it's like a lot of the most competitive people in the world hate losing more than they love winning. And that's kind of like some of the things that drive them to the sport or whatever it is that they do. And that's something that it's a unique quality because not everybody has that kind of drive, and for you,
Right.
that's cool that it takes you through those times, and sometimes you almost have to be a bit like psychotic in your competitive spirit
Yeah.
to be able to push through those moments. So
There's a lot of athletes, like professional level athletes, that you look at and you're like, that person's really cool, but something's not right. Like you can just tell something's not right with them. Like something psychotic is going on. Like they're just crazy what they can do. And I would say I'm not really at that level, but I think there are instances where I can do that, where I can't just go into this crazy mode where I'm just like, no matter what, I'm going to keep pushing and then win this thing.
yeah,
Because I don't want to lose.
man, that's cool. Yeah, it sounds like you really love the sport, obviously, to be able to do that. How did being a triathlete and that love for the sport, how did that end up tying in to your career and your professional route of pursuing being a chiropractor as well?
Yeah, so for whatever reason, once I've started into this triathlon journey of a hobby and this lifestyle, I just got engulfed in it. And then everything I did, I just wanted to wrap it around it. And so now, because when I started college and was first doing triathlon, I was just going to be a basic general family doctor. That's all I had aspiration to be. That's all I wanted to do, was I just wanted to help people. I liked being in the health space, the medical space. And then I started getting more and more interested in sports performance. And I was like, how can I get better? And then I started doing more shadowing and stuff. And I was like, I actually like kind of looking at big pictures. I like looking at biomechanics. And then I got so interested in that I shifted gears and found chiropractic through a roundabout way. But then when I found that, I was like, oh, I can use this and then kind of combine it with some therapy stuff and rehabilitation of how do you take someone from a sports injury and bring them back to speed. And then I got so interested in that with my own sports performance and thinking back on my own injuries throughout the time that I've been training from a young age and what I dealt with. And I was like, man, bet if I would have known this back then, I wonder if I could have been faster even now. And so then I kind of started following this path of sports performance and sports medicine, I guess you could call it. And then saw chiropractic as an opportunity to be able to work with athletes and help people that I had an interest in working with, something that would make it fun, more fun for me. Because I love puzzles. I love the challenges, and I even can take that in my professional career. And chiropractic opened the door for that for me. So then I was like, oh, I want to niche into working with endurance athletes and working with triathletes. Because I've worked with general athletes, all athletes, and I still enjoy that. But I just really enjoy working with the hard-headed athletes that don't want to stop training. They want to know, what can I do? Do I have to take time off? Like everybody else just tells me, oh, you need a rest for X amount of time. And I don't want to stop training. And so I love working with those people. And they love to come to me because they say, oh, that guy's a triathlete. He's a runner. He gets it. He understands. And he knows he's going to be able to really know what I'm dealing with wanting to train and having an injury that came from running 10 miles or something, So it's really cool because it puts me in a position where I get to use my hobby and the knowledge I take from my hobby and bring it into the professional career of working with athletes and working with everyday individual that I have people ask me all the time, like, what can I change with nutrition? What can I change with some activities I'm doing? And I'm like, I'm glad you asked that, because that's stuff that I like to share. And because of me doing triathlon and going from having no clue and not knowing what to do to now I'm coaching people in triathlon, I can even take that into working with an everyday person. And I feel like I'm going to have a better knowledge than just any doctor or any chiropractor that is just in general health and wellness. I feel like I'll be able to help these people even better from a standpoint of, okay, how am I going to progress this? What am I going to give to them as a ground level? Hey, start with this, then do this, and then move to this. And here's a timeline and what it looks like. And if you have something that goes bad, you take a couple steps back. Here's how you navigate that. And I'm like, you ever need to have any questions or you ever need to get in touch with me, just shoot me a message. I'll be happy to help you with that. And it's really fun. brings value to life. Yeah.
Yeah, it brings value to life in the sense where, like, I like that you're able to tie both of basically your professional worlds together,
Yeah.
and where you can be the best of the best at being a triathlete, but then you take that and you want to help others in that space too by helping with their recovery, helping with how they train for races, and just how their body responds. So I think that's really cool that you were able to find a way in which you can give back to the community by helping people to be able to recover in that sport. So
Yeah.
yeah, how's where are you at in that journey right now with your chiropractic business? We talked a little bit about where you're at as a triathlete. So where do things lie as a chiropractor now for you?
Yeah. So I built my business up it went from, I think my first week, I maybe saw 3 patients, and I was just like, okay, this is going to be very interesting. How am I going to eat?
Yeah.
And luckily I have a really good setup. I partner with a bike shop. And so we kind of go hand in hand because I like to focus on that kind of individual that would be walking into a bike shop. And then as people come to see me, they end up finding the bike shop and they become customers there. So vice versa, it's worked out really well. But I went from like that first week of 3 people to now I'm seeing 40 patients a week. On any given week, I could be seeing about that as just a 1-person whole show kind of office. And I've got it to a place where it's steady. So it kind of grew every month, like month after month. It would just go up and up and up and up. And that was really exciting when it was doing that. But then it kind of hits a place where it kind of plateaus. And then it's kind of just ridden like a little line where it goes up and down a little bit through month to month. And week to week, it's a little different each week. But it's finally gotten to a place where it's nice and stable. I never really have to worry about anything too much. I've got a good book of business and I've treated patients really well over the time that I've been doing this. So I have people that'll come back in, they'll reach back out, and I haven't seen them in maybe even longer than a year. But they have a new problem and they know they can trust me and I can help them get out of it and do it well and not be overly expensive or not make them have to overcommit to something that would be going past fixing their problem, but just keeps them going just because I want to run a business, you know? So it's been cool because now I have that turnover of patients coming back around. And so it just kind of keeps the boat afloat, you know, keeps the dream going. And then what's been really nice is I can control my own schedule. So I can do whatever I want with my time and I can leave if I need to leave, and I don't have to ask anybody about it. That's been really nice and something that's a perk to running your own business, I guess. And then with seeing patients, trying to think of the point I'm trying to get across here, but it's part of it is just like there's a lot of freedom to it, but there's a lot of risk to it. And now I'm to where the risk has been minimized and the freedom's been increased. So I've changed my prices, you know, I've done that like 2 different times now since I started. And it's kind of scary but exciting at the same time every time you do it, because you're like, I don't know if I'm going to lose patients or am I going to not get enough for now the new prices. I don't know how this is going to run and how it's going to work, but so far it just keeps working out in my favor and it's been really good. And it sets me up because what I'd like to do is build the business up to where I can kind of partner with other, like a physical therapist and a massage therapist. But I just don't know what that will look like yet. But I'm almost to the point where I'm ready to make that jump and kind of grow out of the place that I'm in. Now I'm getting to a place where I'm like, oh, I want to be able to do more with my clients. Like I have a limited space and limited equipment. And now I'm wanting to get more into like, okay, I've got a lot of people that I've seen for a little while that are in a really good place. But how do I get them to a better place, you know? Because some people will see me like every week and I love seeing them every week, but I'm like, what can I do now to add more value to what I'm giving them, you know? Or people that are in pain, I have different ideas with things I want to do with strength. And that's why they call it practice, because you're always practicing, you're always growing, you're always learning more things. And so now I'm at a point where I'm learning more things and I want to incorporate more things. So it's an exciting point where I'm about ready to grow out of the place that I started from.
Well, I mean, first of all, congrats on that. That's really amazing to hear that you have taken your own practice and have been able to grow it to where it's at right now. The journey of being an entrepreneur is not easy, and you have persevered through that. So, man, that's really cool to hear, especially because, like, okay, you've taken two worlds where they can be they can provide that freedom that you're looking for, but they're also extremely risky. And so you decided to pursue both as a professional athlete and to start your own business in your practice as a chiropractor, and to see you excelling at them both is it's inspiring for sure. So
yeah, and I listen to a lot of podcasts myself, so I've recently been listening to one of this professional triathlete where I wouldn't go back on my journey and change anything. Like, I think I've done things, then that's how God's plan was for me. But I've been listening to this professional triathlete that's an older guy. He did most of his racing back in the late 1980s and 90s and stuff. And it's just crazy hearing his story where he's like, when we were triathletes, we were young. We just left our country, went to a different place where it was more possible to be a triathlete. He's like, we had no money. We literally slept in a bike case the night before a race, got no sleep, rocked up, won the race, got our paycheck. And that's like what we lived off of. We go to the next race. He's like, we just rented the cheapest car we could find. We strapped our bikes on top, no roof rack. And I'm like, that sounds like the life. I'm like, I want to do that. I want to struggle and I want to just make something out of nothing. Like, that sounds incredible. And I think, like, I kind of did that modern day style with what I did with my practice. I went from leaving a job to like, now I don't have an income. Now the only way I'm going to make money is if I drive it through starting my own practice and doing my own thing. I could go find different jobs, but I just remember, and I've been renting rooms. So I had these patients that I knew. They're like, you can rent from us for $400 a month. And I was like, oh, thank God, I have no money. It's going to be perfect. And I could literally walk to and from work. But yeah, it's funny hearing that story of that professional triathlete, that was his way, that he made it up. And then he made it big. And he went from literally leaving the country with a backpack and a bike and a bike case. That was it. I'm like, man, he that's inspiring. Like, that's crazy. And then I think about myself, I'm like, dude, you had basically nothing too. But it just doesn't sound as cool when you have like literally nothing.
I mean, shoot, you said earlier where you started your practice, you left your job, you only had 3 patients, and how did you, like, take us through that? Like, you know, you are thinking about, oh, how am I going to eat? Where am I going to live? So, like, what are those moments like for you?
Yeah, fortunate for me, I was in a position where the job that I had right before I started my own practice, it was paying really well for me for my lifestyle. So I had some excess money that I was able to it was just kind of sitting in my checking account. So I had a little cushion. And if we want to talk about real numbers, it was like I had $9,000 just sitting in the checking account. I was like, I have this, but if this runs out, like, I've got nothing. And I think I had maybe 1,000 in savings. That's what I started out with, pretty much. And so, I mean, I saw that go down, because when I was starting my practice, it was like week after week, month after month, that number was just steadily climbing down as I was spending more to try to get the practice up and going, and trying to get the equipment that I needed, and this, that, and the other, get the software that I needed to have patients, like, and start up your website, all of the things that come with starting a business. And I was just getting more and more nervous as I was going down. And then it got all the way down to about 1,000, and then it started trending up the other way. So though I started getting nervous, I never had that full sense of not being secure, I guess. But there's still some times where you get a little nervous. Like earlier on, it was like, there's still some weeks where you get real nervous because it wasn't doing good for a week or two. But then out of nowhere, I just have like a really good week, and you're like, oh, okay, we're safe, we're back. But there are a lot of times where I was like, I had my fiance now, but girlfriend at the time, when she would cook, I'm like, cook as much as you can. I just want to take leftovers and eat that for lunch, because I would try actively not to spend money on things. And I would try to not drive my car as much as I can, try to ride my bike as much as I could. And sometimes I would be mentally in a hard place and try to think about it and be like, I could just have taken a job somewhere and I could be comfortable and not have to worry about anything. And sometimes I'd be sad about not doing that and be a little scared. But then there were times where it's like, okay, you're fine. Things are doing just fine. And then you have these people that support you and they're always asking. And then sometimes you're even like kind of making up stories. You're like, yeah, things are going good. They're going good. Like we're still rolling. But then there's sometimes where you're sharing, you're all excited and whatnot. And so then that puts the picture in their head like, oh, he's doing good, great. But then every time they ask you, they expect you to be doing good and great. And that wasn't always the case.
Yeah, almost like a fake it till you make it type mentality. But I think what you hit on, which was pretty important, was the sacrifices that you had to make your dreams a reality. Where it's like, hey, if I have to bike everywhere, if I have to just eat what I have and like make things work, you're willing to make those sacrifices so that you can, like you said, live out the dream. And not everyone is willing to make the sacrifices, or sometimes they don't even realize, because I think it works both ways, right? Where if, and this is what people I think don't always realize, is that the sacrifices you make to live your dream, if you're not making those sacrifices to live your dream, then you're sacrificing the dream. Yeah. And that's not what people always realize, is that by not making those sacrifices now, they are actively sacrificing the dream that they have, the vision that they have in place, by not going after or making those sacrifices now to pursue that. And so,
yeah. And you'll hear people talk about that all the time. They're like, oh, I wish I would have done this. Like adults, I mean, not just adults, older adults. You'll hear them say, I really wish I would have done this back then, or I wish I would have done something differently, or taken on this career. They're like, I really loved this. I wish I would have done that. And I kind of never want to be like, I really love that. I wish I would have done that. I kind of, now that I think you bring this up, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't have anything that I would say that about besides triathlon, besides saying, I almost wish I would have gone against what my parents said and I would have just gone into triathlon. They're like, we just put you through school. You're not going to just go be a professional triathlete. They're like, if you get hurt, what's going to happen? You're not going to be able to get any money, blah, 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 blah. And I just really followed their directive. They really wanted me to go on to school. So I went to school. When I got out, I was still on the fence. I was like, I had an opportunity to work at a place called The Joint part-time. They would pay $30,000 to $40,000. I was like, that'll get me by. I could do that. So I can do that 3 days a week, you're telling me, from 10 to 7, make that much money. Have 4 days, I can train for triathlon. I can do pro triathlon for part-time. And then the more I talk to my parents, they're like, you need to get a job. You got to pay off your student loans. Blah. You gotta get a house. You have to pay for all this stuff. You got bills. Like, you're not going to go and just do a half and half. You're not going to go chase this little triathlon dream career thing. And so then I didn't do it again. But now I'm in a place where I'm like, okay, I've set up my whole business. I'm starting to get more freedom to be able to train and still be making enough money to live and grow and do the things I want to do, and have success there. But now I'm like, I still want to do the triathlon thing. And so now I'm like, I'm going to go pro again. And I don't know how much I'm going to go all in on it. My whole goal with it is I would love to compete with some of the best in the world. And I want to see, can I get into some of those positions where I can make some money that supports doing that as I travel for it and I pay for lodging and I go to these races and kind of pick up some sponsors. Like, I just want to see, what can I make out of it? But what can I do by doing that and also still kind of managing or running the business that I've created?
I think you said some like important stuff there, and it's kind of funny because you're like saying that your parents were like, "Oh, put you through school and we want you to do this," and in a sense you did, but you still did it in your own way, where it's like you're still pursuing racing and you're still doing it at a high level, and even with the schooling that you went through, you're also pursuing that in your own way. You decided to not get the job, or you had the job at first, but you're like, I'm gonna do this my own way, start my own practice, my own business, and I'm gonna do this my way. And also I'm gonna you decide to give back in your own way too, where you're like, I want to work with athletes that I can help and understand what their bodies are going through, and how I can help them at the highest level. And when it comes to, going into races, how can I help them there? So, props to you. You kind of, it may not sound like you rebelled, but you rebelled in kind of your own way and decided like, hey, I'm still going against the grain, and I'm going to make my dreams a reality. And that's really cool to hear. It's like, and you're still doing it to this day. Like you're going out, you're competing in races, and you're making your dreams happen. So
and so now I'm at a point where I'm like, man, I love the chiropractic stuff and the therapy and working what I'm doing, but I'm almost like I want to find a way where I can still do it, but partially remove myself from it too, and then I do triathlon coaching. I've mentioned that I do the swim coaching, but I do triathlon coaching that's all remote. So I've been brainstorming ways like, how can I do this in a way where I'm still doing that? I'm still doing something with my business and hands-on with the chiropractic stuff. But how can I remove myself enough where I could train even more? And then I can really be more competitive. I'm always like brainstorming that. How can I make that happen? But right now the business is still in a point where I have to be all hands-on. I still need to keep building that hands-onness. But then I need to start trying to figure out, okay, now what can I do? Should I work with other people that I can kind of get my patients to see them and then it still benefits me? Or do I want to bring in an associate and then work them up, build their patient base up, and then kind of help them become the chiropractor that they want to be? I don't know.
Yeah.
Just try to find a way to get more removed and do the sport more, and then kind of look at my parents and be like, not really be like, ha, but but find a way where I can be like, I still did it. I still went. Yep. And now I'm a professional triathlete. Look at me now. And I'm doing good with it too. That's what I want to be able to do. Not just be like, look at me, I'm a professional triathlete. I'm the lowest of them, but I'm doing it. Like, I want to be up there. I want to be competitive.
Man, I love to hear those kind of things where it's just like, that you're still going about it in your own way, and you're still pursuing things, and to be able to run your own business and then use that business to propel you into like the things that you're really passionate about. That's awesome that you built this business, and even within just the year that you've had it, you've seen that amount of growth to be able to get you to a level to where you're already kind of brainstorming on ways where you can now utilize your own business to help propel you back into the professional world of being a triathlete. So
yeah,
man, that's awesome. In kind of saying that, where does that kind of take you? Like, what does it mean now for you to want to go back to being a triathlete? What does that mean to you to be a professional? And like you said, there are some professionals that were like, back in the day, they just went to the country that the races were happening in, and where it was a bit easier to be a professional, and they just kind of struggled through it, but made it happen. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. So now for me, it just means like achievement, like reaching success and then creating your life story in a way. Like, everybody has a life and they're living it somehow. And even if I achieve these things, I'm not going to be some like celebrity. I'm not going to be super significant to the general public. There will be some space of people that will be like, oh, this is really cool. This guy did this. But, it's just something that you can take with you and you can tell stories about it when you're older. I just love talking to older people that have these cool stories about their background. So part of it is I just want to be old and have this cool recollection of what I've done with my life, look back at it and be like, I did some pretty cool stuff. But then there's also another part of that that ties back into like my beliefs of the world and of how we all came to be and God and what that means in the life and my faith. And I want to be able to say like I've been a good disciple of others or I've been, maybe that's not the right words for it, but basically I can say like I went out there and I showed everyone love and I showed everyone something awesome that they're like, how can I be like him? Or what does he do? How's he different? And then maybe they can see that aspect of my life too, of like I am this way and I'm always so happy. I'm always so smiling and I'm high achieving because I know I'm saved and I have no worries really. I just keep like looking forward to what's next. Like I'm always looking forward to what's next. And even after life, I'm looking forward to what's next. And just have that something about me that it's not quite tangible. You know, everybody's like, there's just something about him. Like, why do we like him or love him so much? And then it encourages them to maybe, you know, find their own faith and things. So I want to be an old guy that shares these stories and then ties it into his faith in some way. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, it's like the way you explain that right now, it sounds like with your legacy, it's bigger than you. And for you being able to just tie everything together in a sense where you get to showcase your faith through the gifts that you were given.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know how I got all this stuff. My parents weren't any like special athletes.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of made it happen. Or just kind of happened.
Yeah.
It's what a gifts is the gifts.
And I think that right there, that's an important note to take down in a lesson because I think oftentimes we are given these gifts but don't actually utilize them or put them to their fullest extent, you know?
Yeah.
And for you to be a good steward over your gifts and like you said, everybody kind of has a story and you want to be able to tell your story of, hey, God has given me these gifts of being an athlete, of being a competitor, a person who's willing to take risks. And I chose to use them to the fullest ability that I was capable of. And that's cool to hear from you that that's kind of the legacy that you want to leave behind. Does that kind of sound right?
Yeah. That almost explains it better than I can explain it. 'Cause, yeah, definitely. I believe like everyone has gifts in multiple facets. Like it could be physical abilities. It could be mental abilities. I don't even know how to describe some of the other abilities, but it could be communication. Some people could be great at communication. Some people can be great at relationships. Some people might look at their lives and be like, I don't think I have any gifts, but I guarantee you that every person's going to have some gift in some way. And then just finding it and following it. Like, let it bring your life to you. Like, don't keep trying to force something. Especially don't keep, if you feel like you're doing something that's not working out over and over and over again, then maybe you're forcing it. Maybe you're not really following or you're not really doing what you're supposed to do. It might be worth like changing direction, changing course. Do something that you feel like you really like and something that you feel like you're going to eventually really love. Or something that you really love right now that you're not doing. Go and do it. Like use your gifts. And that might not be what you even think or what you want it to be, but you know it's there.
Yeah. And like you said, right, there are going to be times where when you're chasing after those things where you love to do them and you want to pursue them, but you're not sure what's going to come next. You're wondering like, how am I going to eat? Where am I going to live? Type of thing.
Yeah.
But
we all want stability.
Mm-hmm. But I think you're a testament to that of it's possible. Like you can, as long as you're putting in your diligence to be able to pursue those things. You've shown like you didn't have everything sorted out before you made that leap of faith. You said you started with 3 clients in a whole week, and so it's amazing to see just the leap of faith that you're able to take and understand that this is something that I love to do, and I'm gonna make it happen. And not only that, I'm gonna excel at a high level. And you kind of touched on it. You kind of hinted at it before, which what I picked up on it is, and why I feel like you're successful at what you do is you mentioned, I don't want to just be in it just to make a buck. You're doing it so every step of the way you're seeing, okay, this was good. How can I now provide more value to this person? And I think that's what, for me, what it sounds like from you is that's what has made you successful over this time is you're not just thinking about it from a standpoint of, let me just kind of do me. You're thinking about it from an unselfish standpoint of how you can give back to others and how you can provide your clients with the best value, how you can give back to them, how they can improve best. And even when you're racing, you're giving energy to get energy. Like you're always giving. I think that plays a huge part and role into your success, but just really anyone's success that's looking to pursue the things that they're passionate about at the highest level.
Mm-hmm.
So, I commend you for being able to be, just have that type of mindset when pursuing these things. When it comes to your legacy, I know you already kind of spoke to it, and how you mentioned your faith plays a big part of it, and just being able to grow to an age where you can say that you gave back and you have these stories to be able to tell. Can you kind of just talk to that a little bit more of just your legacy and what that means to you?
Yeah, I just wanted to encompass many stories. Like I love like hearing stories. Mm-hmm. And so if I can have a lot of stories later down the road that then I can share with others, leverage, hopefully you remember them at an old age. And then same thing, you just show that you've done something for a very long time. Just like being married, it's like people love to hear, oh, we've been married for 60 years. It's like, holy smokes, like that's incredible. Like people love those kind of things where you've been dedicated to something for so long. And then it's just like, how does that even happen? It's because you had to do something that worked really well. And then it's like, well, then people want to know, what is it? Like, what's the secret? And that's like something that's really cool. And then all these different stories, you can be an entertainer to some extent. And like, I love entertaining people to some degree, So I think a lot of those things are really cool that you can tie all those things in and you get a little bit of that faith element and throw it into there, and that's a bonus.
Yeah. Well, man, that's cool to hear. I think stories that's what connects humans to humans. Like that's really what just helps connect us. So, that being said, do you have what's your best story right now?
Oh boy, that's a hard one.
I don't mean to put you on the spot, but
yeah. Best story. I mean, I guess something that's like the most recent in my head, if we want to even think about like just racing, is like the thing that's been the biggest this whole year was when I won the sprint distance Giraffe Legal National Championship. In that triathlon, I swam well, but there wasn't really a good group that was around me. But there ended up being a group that formed on the bike that was in front of me and a group that formed on the bike that was behind me. So I had 4 guys that were about 40 seconds in front of me or something like that. Around about. They're about 40 seconds up the road in front of me, and I had a group that was 30 seconds behind me, and I was just in what they call no man's land, just all by myself. I'm like, this is supposed to be a draft legal triathlon. I'm not drafting with anyone. And the bike is where you do the draft. So I'm out there. It's a multiple loop course. I'm chasing them around, and that front group got a little bit further away from me on one lap. And I was like, oh man, I was like, there's 4 people. And I know 2 of them in that group can run really well. And I don't know about the other 2 people. I don't know who they are. And then I knew the people that were behind me, a couple of them, they were familiar faces, and some of them I didn't know who they were. I was just like, do I let them catch me, or do I stay away from them? Because I don't want to be with other people. I don't want to take someone from behind and bring them up. I want to stay away. I want to catch the people in the front of me. But it was going to be impossible to catch those group of 4 versus 1. It's pretty tough. Not very good odds in that situation. So we go around the last loop. We're transitioning off to the run, which the run's just a 5K in this event. And someone yells out, "You're a minute down," which I held them on the last lap. So they grew their lead to a minute, and then I held them on the minute. But I was thinking to myself, I was so frustrated on the bike. Even I was riding my bike, and I was just thinking, I hope I hit a pothole or something. I hope I get a flat tire. Like, something, Lord, just take me out of this race. Like, I don't even want to do this. I'm so angry right now. And I managed to hold pretty good on the bike. But when I got to the run, I heard they were a minute away, a minute down the road. I was like, this race is over. I don't even care about 2nd or 3rd place, like, or 4th place or 5th place. I was like, I don't want to finish this. I don't want to finish in this place. I only came here to win this race. And I was really thinking, like, I'm just shot. I'm just going to trot it in, jog it home. But I had someone yelling at me, and they're like, you can catch them. I'm like, go and get them. I'm like, go. And then I started running. I wasn't feeling great because I just did all that bike work by myself. But as I started running, I was like, yeah, you know what? I've been training the run pretty good. Like, let's just see what I can do. Like, let's see how fast I can run. Like, I feel confident in my running ability, but I already knew at least one of those people that was up there can usually run as fast as me. So I was like, there's no way I'm going to catch up a minute in a 5K. But sure enough, as I was running and I could just see them all in a row, they were slowly coming back towards me. And I was like, you kind of get that feeling. You're like, yeah, maybe I can catch them. And I started picking them off one by one. So I passed the first guy, just kind of said, like, great job, keep it up. I'm like, but I knew he wasn't going to go with me. He was toast. I kept going past the next guy, and I was just like, okay, we're not even to the halfway point yet. And then I had someone on a bike that biked past and was up on the course, and they were getting little splits from the people that were in front of me. And he was like, you're catching them. You keep this up, you're going to catch them. And then you get motivated. But in the back of your head, you're like, are they resting up there? Like, but there's 2 people in the front. So they're kind of duking it out. And you knew they're not just trying to jog together, because someone's trying to be the winner. Someone's going to be the loser, essentially. So they're racing, but they were still coming back to me. And so I didn't know if they were waiting to the back half to kick it in or what. I didn't know what would happen, but I was feeling good at this point. So I kept pushing, and then we hit the turnaround mark, and they saw me, and you could just see the look on their face, like, oh crap, here he comes. And then there's a guy behind me that I was looking back at, and I was like, that guy's moving pretty fast too. He might catch me. He ended up having the 2nd fastest run. I think I outran him by 1 second, maybe, but we outran everybody else by a lot. And when we're on the way back, I get to where they're about 100 meters in front of me, and I know I'm going to catch them at this point. So I'm strategically thinking, okay, we're going to have a little less than a mile left. They might be able to go with me, and I don't want that. So I kind of slowly eased my way back up to them, and I was going at a significantly faster pace, so I slowed down to their pace, and that gave me a little time to catch my breath and rest for a second. And then I was like, okay, as soon as we get over this little uphill, we're going to hit this downhill, and I'm going to turn and burn. As soon as we get on that, and when we hit that hill, they're going to be tired from working up the hill. I'm going to go to the outside as far on there's cones, so you can only go so far out. I'm going to get as far away from them as I can, and I'm just going to take off. And I'm going to take off like I'm sprinting, like I'm doing a 200-meter dash. And so I got to the outside, and I just took off. And one of their dads was on the side, and he's like, don't let him go. Don't let him go. Like, you better get on him. And I just heard their feet just, and they got right behind me, and I was like, oh, shoot. And I was like, They can't hang. There's no way. So I kept pushing it, kept the hammer down, and then just waited till I didn't hear footsteps behind me. And they, sure enough, started popping off. And then I was like, okay, I'm in the clear. So I backed the pace down slowly, but then I maintained a very fast pace at that point because I was like, there's not very much left. And I definitely don't want someone to come back from behind and out sprint me in the end. Because for me, I know I usually don't have a sprint. I usually, once I hit my top, I don't have very much more to go past that point. So I got to the last turn. I looked back and saw I had a big gap, and I was just like, oh, thank God. And I was like, I'm going to win this thing. Holy crap. So then you get emotional. Like you start like crying. It's just crazy. These emotions just like take your body over when you're about to do something epic. You work so hard for so long to achieve this. And then it's right there and you can see it and you just grab the finish line. And it's like unreal feeling. Your body can't even realize what's really going on. All you know is that you feel like you're just going to bust out in tears and everything. And then, yeah, when I won that race, that was just crazy. I definitely thought I was done. I thought there was no way, no chance I was going to catch these guys. And then to do it was incredible, yeah.
Man, that sounds crazy, but amazing at the same time that you're able to, make that happen. It's kind of funny hearing like you tell that story and how that all of those elements kind of tied back into just everything that we talked about, just like how you're on your bike and not wanting to finish the race at that point. I was
like, Lord, take me out. This sucks.
And then I'm
getting crushed right now. Like, there's no way this race is over.
Yeah, and I think that kind of just shows the mental fortitude that you had to build up leading into that race and understanding like, hey, the training paid off because you clearly pushed through those moments. And then somebody during the run was yelling at you and kind of giving you that energy and motivation to move on. So, man, that's cool to hear. Like everything kind of just tied together with that story. So I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So, yeah, I guess with all of that being said, I know you have this race coming up, but and you already touched on it a bit, but like what are kind of some of your future plans going? I know you said you're brainstorming with the chiropractic business and how you can kind of remove yourself to pursue being a triathlete a bit more in that profession. But yeah, what are some of your future goals right now?
Yeah, so for the next year, some of my big goals that I have, these are the ones that like they're going to be my main focus for next year, is to win as many national championship titles as I can next year in triathlon, which there's like 3 or 4 that you can go and try to win within the sport of like just triathlon. The sprint distance, defend my title. Sprint distance draft legal, defend my title. The sprint distance non-drafting. The Olympic distance non-drafting. And then think that's it. So from national champion standpoint, I'm going to try to win all 3 of those. Those are a big focus. And then I'm going to try to win the world champs in the sprint, the Olympic, the 100K, and the half Ironman distance. Those are like my big goals. And if I can achieve that, I don't know if anyone's ever done all of those in 1 year.
Wow. Okay.
So that is a big athletic goal for next year. And then I'll go pro in 2025 is the goal from there. But for next year, as far as career goes and stuff, I want to grow the business, I think. I want to get it to where I'm working with a physical therapist and a massage therapist. Hopefully we've found a location that's really good. We can kind of build our own like little environment. I think I really do want to do that next year and kind of grow the business. And even if that is me having to not let Pro Movement Dallas, my business, die, but even if that's like I'd have to sacrifice a little piece of that to make it a bigger business, to go under a name that's different, that everyone likes, that's a part of the group. Or do I want to keep it and then hire people? Because I think if I go the way I want to go, I'll be joining people that are already established in their own areas as well. So it'd be a partnership more or less. But if I don't really decide to go that route, then I'll just hire associates, and then it would be me fronting again. So that's almost stepping out into like a new business model that puts you at more risk as you hire people to work for you and represent you, represent your brand, represent your business. So I don't know if I'll go that route, but something like that with the business next year would be pretty cool, I think, and just have more space to do more things and serve more people in different ways. I think that'd be really neat. And then I have a little bit of an opportunity to go and do different traveling with an international team that I just joined called Girona Racing Academy. So I might go to Girona a little bit and work some camps there and do a little training out there with the team that I've been a part of. And there's some other little projects in the work that I can't talk about yet because they're not official, but I'm hoping those come to fruition, which will be beneficial for a couple of athletes in the U.S. that are part of a team that I might be a part of as well. That's kind of a piece of the Girona Racing Academy, but it'll be something for like U.S. people specifically. That's kind of an exciting little project that's in the works.
Wow. Okay.
With some sponsored gear and some cool stuff.
Yeah. So all things that'll help you, continue your pursuit.
Reaching those goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's exciting stuff. I appreciate you sharing all that. And just kind of wish you all the best on those goals and what you have set out for yourself. So yeah, super excited for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll kind of we'll wrap it up with some rapid fire questions. You don't have to answer them like super fast, but yeah, these are just some questions to have fun with. So first one is, who is someone in your network that is up to something good and you think that people should check out and possibly even have here?
Oh man, that's super interesting. Yeah, these are hard because it makes me have to take a step back and really think about what's going on with it. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head of someone that's doing something. I mean, I do have a friend that is kind of one of the owners of a thing called Lever, which is great for athletes to use. I think it's very beneficial to guys and girls that get these like little nagging injuries that they need just some impact taken off of their running. You basically take this device, you attach it to your treadmill. It can be a gym or it can be in your own home. And what it does is it reduces your body weight by kind of lifting you up through a lever system to decrease that impact that you're getting from every step that you're taking during your running. And so I think that's a really cool thing. It's still relatively new. They've had it up and running for a couple of years now as a business and sending these all around the world. I think that's a really cool thing. And it's a friend of mine named Brad Miles who kind of got that idea going and started and went to Colorado and got it full blown up and going.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's cool. Everyone needs to go check out Brad Miles and his Lever company. So
yeah,
that's really cool. And then so outside of being a triathlete and your chiropractic business, what do you do for fun?
I like to go fishing. Deep sea fishing is one of my other biggest hobbies. I absolutely love it. Don't get to do it very much because it is expensive. And I do have to figure out, okay, where am I going to go? When am I going to do this? But I love deep sea fishing.
Okay.
And then other than that, I love just vegging out. I love watching Netflix TV shows, which is also goes hand in hand with biking indoors, which we're coming up on the cold season here in Texas. So I'm going to be riding my bike inside a lot, watching Netflix shows a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Killing two birds with one stone. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
So those are probably the two things I like to do the most outside of triathlon.
Yeah. So you may be a fisherman in a different timeline.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked as a fisherman actually.
Oh, okay.
I spent a little time doing some fishing guiding up at Lake Texoma. It's a lake where they have fish called striper. And one of my dads gets up there, and that's what he does in the summer. He does it year round, and he needs a little help in the summer. So I went up there and helped one summer. It was a lot of fun.
Okay. Man, that's cool. I might have to try out some deep sea fishing then.
Oh yeah, deep sea fishing's great.
And then next one is, what did you want to be when growing up?
Exactly what I am now. But let's jot that one up as being a professional triathlete. Like, I just want to be like, wow, he was a professional triathlete, a real one who did really well, like, or was up there, known, did well, and then someone who inspires others. I want to be someone that fuels others' passions. That's what actually should be number one.
Yeah, that's okay. So that's pretty cool because, yeah, now that kind of, that it all still ties in. Even from a young age, you just want to kind of serve as an inspiration to others to be able to pursue their dreams. And
yeah, so when I grow up, that's what I want to be.
Yeah,
someone that just encourages others to pursue their passion.
And you're doing it. I mean, just hearing the things that you've shared today, that's already inspired me. So, yeah, you're helping me want to pursue the things that I'm doing at the highest level now. So, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that stuff today.
Yeah, pursuing it at the highest level, that's a good word.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm really passionate about. Like, don't just do something. Like, do it good. Like, really good.
Yeah, that's cool. Don't just do something. Do it good. Be the best at it. Yeah. I love that advice. So, yeah, don't do things half-heartedly.
Yeah.
All right. And then last one to kind of take us out of here. Where can people find your work and learn more about you?
Yeah, so best way to find me, get a hold of me is going to be good places Instagram at Pro Movement Dallas, or you can find my website by kind of searching the same thing on Google. And I should be one of the first things that pops up, hopefully, if the Google algorithms are working right. Or you can find me at Dr. Garrett Mayu, and that's on Instagram too.
All right. Well, everybody go check out Garrett and all of his work and the amazing stuff that he's doing out there. Garrett, again, I appreciate you for being here, taking the time and the energy to just share your story today. So, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. It's been fun.